Hey, well, hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I am excited to be with you. Chris Robinson here, Executive Vice President of the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team. And today I'm continuing our journey through the 15 invaluable laws of growth. And so over the past 9 weeks, I've been taking you through chapter by chapter of what I believe the best personal growth book that's out there when it comes to really growing yourself as an individual. We started this 10 weeks ago, and each and every single week I'll continue out through the next 5 weeks, actually going through chapter by chapter, sharing with you principles from this incredible book. If you haven't picked this book up yet, be sure to pick this up, whether it's from our bookstore at maxwellleadership.com or wherever you may get that. But go to maxwellleadership.com/15 laws. Pick up this book. I promise you it'll be worth your time, your investment to pick this book up. So I hope that you have been getting value. For those of you that have been watching, if you have not watched the rest of these, you can click on the video tab on the Maxwell Leadership page here, and you can go back and watch the previous videos to get caught up and use those. Today, we're going to be talking about the law of the rubber band. Now, each and every single week, I come to you and tell you how excited I am about each and every single one of these chapters. But I tell you what, these chapters, these principles have truly been transformational in my life, and I hope that they'll be transformational to yours. And so if you're just jumping on here, if you could, in the chat, go ahead and type in where you're watching from. I see that Edna is watching in from Toronto, but whatever else you're watching from, be sure to type that in the chat, and I would love to hear from you so we can see where you all are watching from. So let's dive into it today. We're going to be talking about the law of the rubber band. The law of the rubber band says that growth stops when you lose the tension between where you are and where you could be. Growth stops when you lose the tension between where you are and where you could be. Now, I want you to think about a rubber band. I'm wearing a rubber band here today, and specifically as we were talking about this rubber band, and this rubber band has a purpose. This rubber band has a purpose, and it has great use when there's tension to it. It has great use when there has tension to it. Now, if you could in the chat, I want you to really, if you could, just write down one way. Just write down one way that this rubber band has use. Just write down one way that this rubber band has use. Put that in the chat. I would love to see some different uses for the rubber band. So if you could, in the chat as I'm watching that, go ahead and type that in there. As I see, we got Samantha on. We got Rennie on there. Good to see you, Rennie. We've got Samantha on there as well. Good. But in the chat, if I could have you type in, what is a use for a rubber band? What's a use for a rubber band? Oh, let me get that muted. There we go. So I can see the chat there. There we go. Veggie bands. All right, you can band some veggies together, keep things together, right? Okay, you can do a lot of different things with a rubber band with its use, with its intent, with its purpose. The intent of a rubber band is to hold things together. But see, the thing about the rubber band, just like us, the only time that the rubber band has use is when it's stretched. You see, this rubber band, just like this, doesn't have any value at all, but when it's stretched and we can combine things together, and we can keep things together with the rubber band, now it has use. Just like each and every single one of us, we have use when we're stretched. And so today we're going to be doing a little bit of stretching as we talk about the law of the rubber band. You see, we want you to stretch. Now, I know oftentimes you hear people saying, you need to stretch. You need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to do these different things. But here's a little caveat that I want to put in there that John Maxwell has taught me. It says that you want to stretch in your areas of strength. You want to stretch in your areas of strength. You see, because when you stretch in your areas of strength, what happens is you are challenged. Okay, that's great. We want to be challenged. All right, we want to expect challenges in our life. We want to be challenged. And when we stretch in our areas of strength, we're challenged. But when we stretch in the areas of our weaknesses, we're intimidated. Think about this. When we stretch in the areas of our weaknesses, we're intimidated. But when we stretch in the areas of our strengths, we grow and we're challenged. And so when you're thinking about stretching and when you're thinking about doing brand new things, you need to be thinking about, how can I maximize my strengths? How can I minimize my weaknesses, gather those around me in order to get better? And see, and the thing about being stretched as an individual is once you're stretched, you never come back the same. You see, once you experience something brand new, once you have a new idea that works for you in your life, you never go back to the old thinking. And so we want to stretch. But you see, growth stops when we lose the tension between where you are and where you could be. So let me talk to you about a few benefits of tension. All right, a few benefits of tension in that tension that we want inside of our growth here. And so the first thing that you have to understand is that very few people want to stretch. Very few people want to stretch. What most people want in life is they just want to be comfortable. They just want things to just be okay, to be status quo and hold on to the things that they want. And they don't want to stretch. They don't want to learn. They don't want to grow. Now, this was an interesting statistic that was from the book here. It says that 42% of college graduates never read a book again after college. Well, what is that saying to us? What that's saying is that, look, they wanted to stop growing after they received the degree, the doctorate, the master's, the whatever. They stopped when the courses were over. And then what begins to happen is we begin to settle for average. You know, I love this poem that John has inside of here from Edmund Goddard about average. And I'm going to talk a little bit about average. I'm going to read this poem to you. This is one of my favorite poems. I use this in a lot of different presentations, but I want to give you a distaste for average. I want to give you a disdain for it. I want you to have a dislike for average, because average or comfortable is holding you back for the best that's in store for you. Average is this. Average is what the failure claims to be when their family and friends ask them why they're not more successful. Average is the top of the bottom, the best of the worst, the bottom of the top. Which one are you? Average means being run-of-the-mill, mediocre, insignificant, and also ran a non-entity. Being average is the lazy person's cop-out. It's lacking the guts to take a stand in life. It's living by default. Being average is to take up space for no purpose, to take the trip through life but never pay the fare, to return no interest for God's investment in you. Being average is to pass one's life away with time rather than to pass one's time away with life. It's to kill time rather than to work it to death. To be average is to be forgotten once you pass from this life. The successful are remembered for their contributions. The failures are remembered because they tried, but the average, the silent majority, are just forgotten. To be average is to commit the greatest crime against oneself. The saddest epitaph is this: here lies Mr. and Mrs. Average. Here lies the remains of what might have been, except for their belief that they were only average. They were only average. I mean, I hope that gives you I need you to go back and replay that, re-listen to that, reread that inside the book, what average is. And I hope that it gives you a distaste for what average is. You see, few people want to stretch, but the second thing is that settling for average is going to lead to dissatisfaction. I mean, just hands down, it's going to lead to dissatisfaction. I love this quote right here. If you plan on being anything less than you're capable of being, you'll probably be unhappy all the days of your life. So what's your plan? What's your plan to go beyond that? You know, I want you to think about any area of your life right now. Think about any area of your life right now that is just average. Now, I want you to think about that. Would you type in the chat? Are you happy? Do you get satisfaction out of that average space? Just type yes or no inside the chat right now. When you think about something that's average, whether you are average in your finances, average in your position at work, average in your relationship at home, whatever you're average in, is there satisfaction there? Yes or no? Just put it in the chat. Just put it in the chat. I want to see who we have there in the chat, okay? And so think about this. You're not fulfilled with average of anything. And so we want to make sure that we're not settling for that, because we know that it leads to satisfaction. If you just keep doing the same things over and over and over again and keep expecting a different result, nothing's going to change. You see, number 3 is that stretching always starts from the inside out. It always starts from the inside out. Now listen to this. I love this. Most people have a dream. For some of you, it's on the tip of your tongue. For others, it's buried deep in your hearts. But everyone has one. However, not many people are pursuing it. Okay, now here's what I want you to type in the chat. Okay, you need to engage with me right here. You need to make sure that you're typing in there. How many of you are pursuing your dream? If you're pursuing your dream today, Either that one that's on the tip of your tongue or the one that's deep down inside your heart. I want you to type in the chat, I am. I want you to type in the chat, I am. If you are pursuing your dream, I want you to type in the chat, I am. Here we go. Somebody says, Tom says, I am now. Okay. Here we go. Who else out there? Kelsey says, I am. All right. Now, here's the next question. How many of you are achieving your dream right now? I want you to type in the chat, I am. How many are achieving your dream right now? Type in the chat, I am. Okay. Usually there's a gap. There's usually a gap of those that are pursuing those and those that are achieving them. But the question I have is, if you're not achieving your goals, but you're in pursuit of your goals, what's stopping you? What's stopping you? You see, I love this. It says that it's wise to remember that our situation in life is mainly due to the choices that we make and the actions that we take. Our situations today in life are mainly due to the choices that we make and the actions that we take. The older we are, the more responsible we are for our situation. If you're merely average, or if you're no closer to your dream this year than you were last year, then choose to accept it, defend it, cover it up and explain it away, or you can choose to change it and grow from it and form a new path. It's your choice. So why not stretch? Why not stretch and grow? But it starts with the inside. It starts with the inside. So number 3 is that stretching always starts from the inside. Number 4, stretching always requires change. Stretching always requires change. Nothing's going to change until you change. Now, again, this is a question I love asking people all the time is, when was the last time you did something for the first time? It told us early in the book that 95% of the thoughts we think today, we thought yesterday. And so the only way in order for you to get a new thought is for you to do something new. It's time for you to do something different. If you want different results, you're going to have to change. And every time that you stretch, it's going to require you to change. You can't get a different result if you don't change anything. So it starts with small things. Now, I know oftentimes what happens is when you hear somebody talking about, well, you got to change something in your life, and we think that we got to make these massive changes to create different thoughts. Now, it doesn't have to be a massive change, because in life we make hundreds of thousands of decisions each and every single day without even thinking about it. Now, I'll ask you, how many of you have taken the exact same way to work for the last 7 days of the week? I mean, last 7 times that you've gone to work, you've gone the exact same way, and when you get there, you have no idea how you got there. Anybody, has that happened to anybody in the chat? Say, it happened to me in the chat. Let me see if that's happened to you. You can drive to work and you have no idea how you got there, because you can make that decision all day long and it does not require you to think. You're an autopilot. But let me tell you, it can be simply changing. If you want to create a different thought, take a left out of the neighborhood instead of a right out of the neighborhood. Take a different way to work. What's going to happen is you're going to create awareness, because you're not used to going through the motions in that direction. You've got to make small changes. It's simple things. Let me ask you a question. Which pant leg do you put on first when you put your pants on, your left or your right? Now, many of you will have no idea, or you have to think really hard, or you have to go back and reenact which pant leg you put on first. Why? Because it's an automatic decision that you make every single day without thinking about it. Think about the series of decisions, the series of choices you make throughout the day that you never even think about it. If you want to change something in your life, change some simple actions that are inherently natural for you, and you will begin to create different thoughts. But if you're going to stretch, it's going to require change. Nothing's going to change until you change. Number 5, stretching will set you apart from others. When you begin to stretch, and you begin to stretch in your life, what's going to happen is others from the outside are going to begin to recognize it. They're going to recognize it inside the workplace when you begin to stretch. You see, it's very easy to stand out in corporate America these days. Jim Rohn taught us about this in the early 80s when he says, hey, look, if you want to stand out on the job, it's pretty simple. He gave a real simple process to stand out on the job. He said this. He goes, hey, here's an idea. If you want to stand out on the job, it's real simple. He said, number 1, show up on time. Now, come on. Now, some of you are thinking, well, hey, that's what I'm supposed to do. But look, you'll stand out on time if you just simply show up for meetings and show up for work on time. He says, but if you really want to stand out, hey, show up on time with a smile. Oh my goodness, let me tell you, you show up on time for work, but you come in there with a bad face and you're not excited to be there. He says, hey, if you want to take it to the next level, really stand out, show up on time with a smile, hey, and a good attitude. Oh my goodness, what a difference you will make in the workplace if you show up with those three things. But he says, hey, if you want to take it to the next level, show up on time with a smile, with a good attitude, and do more than you asked, and you will stand out each and every single time. You see, when you stretch and when you grow, when you exceed expectations, what's going to happen is going to set you apart from others. But it's easy to do in today's world. Number 6, stretching needs to become and can become a lifestyle. Now listen to this. I love this right here by Terry White. Terry White said this: nature has everywhere written her protest against idleness. Everything which ceases to struggle, which remains inactive, rapidly deteriorates. It is the struggle toward an idea, the constant effort to get higher and further, which develops manhood and character. You see, we are built, we are wired to grow. We are built and wired to be, do, and have more. You can accept what life is just given for you, but we need to adapt a lifestyle of growth, a lifestyle of learning, a lifestyle for more. If not for your benefit, the benefit for those around you, the benefit for those, for your children, the benefit for those to be modeled around and say, hey, they want to look to you and say, hey, look, this person's growing, I can grow. They want to look at Tim and say, hey, Tim's growing, I can grow. But when you begin to do that and you begin to create a lifestyle of growth, oh, things get better. Oh, things get better. The number seven right here is that, oh my goodness, let me go back here. One more quote from this chapter, from that segment right there is this, that you absolutely have to have. And it's this right here. It's by a rabbi. It says that if you won't be better tomorrow than you were today, if you won't be better tomorrow than you were today, then what do you need tomorrow for? Come on. Oh my goodness. It's questioning your very own life if you don't want better for tomorrow. If you won't be better tomorrow than you were today, then what do you need tomorrow for? Now, hey, don't take this message the wrong way. I'm not telling you, hey, you're not deciding to grow, just go and jump off a building or anything. What I'm telling you is that you are wired for more, right? You're given the next day. If you're given tomorrow, you're given tomorrow to add value to people. You're given tomorrow to make things better on this planet. You're given tomorrow to make life better for everyone that lives in it. Number 7, stretching gives you a shot at significance. Gandhi said that the difference between what we do and what we are capable of doing would suffice to solve most of the world's problems. The difference is the gap between good and great. It's the difference between good and great. He says that significance is birthed within each of us. If we're willing to stretch, that seed can grow until it becomes and bears fruit in our lives. What's fantastic about it is that change within us challenges us to make changes around us. And our growth creates a belief in us that others can grow. When that happens in an environment and everybody is stretching and growing, then indifference is replaced with make a difference. Indifference is replaced with make a difference. And that's what would change the world. Come on. If you want to go from indifference to make a difference, and here's what John tells us all the time. He says, we strive for success, and success is good. We want to have that. But when you experience significance, success will never taste the same again. It's about making this planet better. Oh my goodness. The law of rubber band says that growth stops when you lose the tension between where you are and what you could be. Wow, I hope that you found that helpful here today. I'm going to be back next week as we continue into chapter number 11, the law of trade-ups, which simply says that you have to give up to grow up. You have to give up to grow up. And so we're going to be talking about some trade-offs that you need to make in your life in order for you to be, do, and have more. And I'm so excited to be on here with you again. I look forward to talking to you there. If you are watching this and you're listening listening to this content and you say, hey, you know what? I'd like to share this content. I'd like to learn and grow or be in a growth environment. I'd love for you to speak with one of our Maxwell Leadership Program advisors to find out more about becoming part of our certified team, where we can place you inside of a growth environment and that you can head in the direction that you want to go to help improve your communication skills, improve your coaching skills, get you in a place of support and like-minded people that are moving in the direction that you want to go. If you want to find out more information about that, check out leadwithjohn.com, leadwithjohn.com, and one of our program advisors will reach out to you to tell you all about it. I hope that you found that helpful. I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day.